In this video for the holiday stocking, I am going to show you how to put together your trim for the stocking. Now you've already made the body of the stocking and the ornament. And in this video, we're just going to be talking about how to make this right here, which is the trim. And you'll put that trim on both the stocking and the ornament. And you'll be making the trim for both sizes at the same time. So this is how we're going to make our trim. Now you used fusible fleece for your stocking to give it more body. You can use that same product for the back of your 2.5-inch strips, or you can use regular leftover cotton batting, or this happens to be Bosel's Katahdin batting that's pre-cut to width. It doesn't matter which you use, either one will work. Technique will be the same, except on the fusible fleece you are going to fuse that to the back of the fabric. On the batting you're just going to lay it on the back of the fabric. The next step is to take your tubes, or take your 2.5-inch strips, fold the raw edges to the center. Then you are going to fold that in half lengthwise. You're nestling your raw edges right in that fold. Once you've done that, you can pin it if you want to, but I usually don't. I just go ahead and just straight stitch as close to the edge as possible. Now we're stitching as close to the edge as possible so that it's going to make it easier to slide your lights through if you want to put lights in your stocking or your ornament. After you've done several tubes and do the number that is outlined in your pattern, you are going to zigzag stitch them together. So I'm going to pull this out, and the cameraman will pan in a little bit. And you're just simply doing a zigzag stitch, a simple zigzag stitch. All the measurements are in your pattern. One thing that sometimes occurs is that you will skip stitches. We found out that is mostly due to the thread that you're using. So you want to use a thin thread, or the needle that you're using. If you do skip a stitch or stitches, you want to use a Janome purple tip needle or an Inspira brand, and that's by Husqvarna Viking, Denim 11018. So you're going to zigzag stitch your tubes together, and you want to zigzag stitch 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, and then you want to zigzag stitch 4 together and zigzag stitch your final 2 on. That will create a strip that is that long. So it's going to be about 42 inches long. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut that into 6 pieces that are 5 inches long. Now I'm going to reach over and take these pieces. So you are using 6 pieces for the trim on the stocking. So this will require 6 pieces. For the trim on the ornament, you'll just need 2 pieces. Now notice how I've turned these around so that the raw edges are on top and bottom. You will zigzag stitch these pieces together just like you zigzag stitched your tubes together. Now this will be longer than you need. Once you've zigzag stitched that together, measure around the top of your stocking, and that you want to measure from the back seam all the way around to the back seam again. It should be around 19 inches, maybe a little bit more or a little bit less. You want to take a seam ripper and tear the two or cut the two pieces apart using your seam ripper as close to that 19-inch length as possible. You may be a little over, a little under, that's fine, but just use a seam ripper and take off the tubes that you don't need. Same thing on the ornament. Measure around and then take that measurement and remove any extra tubes that you don't need to get as close to that measurement as possible. And that's it for making the trim. In the next video, we're going to talk about binding.